Trail Seeker Adventures heads to South Carolina, and we bring you along to the GTR Racing Complex, where we check out the first US Sprint Enduro. You may ask, what is US Sprint Euduro? Well, I jump behind the bars and bring you along for a couple laps to tell you what it's all about. They also had the pros show up and put on a good show for the spectators. Come along as we check out and see what the US Sprint Euduro is all about. The US Sprint Euduro is a time 2-day event. You are racing against the clock. Each day you will have 6 tests. 3 of them will be the cross test and 3 of them will be the enduro test. And whoever can do it in the least amount of time will be the winner for the day. Then repeat the process on day 2. US Sprint Euduro has a class for everybody, starting with the 50s up to the 50-year-old, which that's me. First thing you do is find a class, pick your class, and then you will have to line up with your class, and every 15 seconds a new rider will come out. You simply find a gate that has your class number or name, line up, and wait for your turn to go out and hit the track. The tracks typically are about a 3.5 mile loop for the adults. They are modified for the 50s and then also the youth. Once you're done with your test, you're able to come back, put your bike up on the stand which they provide, and check out your time and see where you stacked up to your competition. Well, I jump on my 2020 Beta 430 RR Race Edition, and we're getting ready to go out and show you what the cross test is all about here at the GTR Complex in South Carolina. And let me just tell you, it is sand, sand, and more sand. And as I said, you are racing against the clock. There is a little second counter on the beam on the left of the arch. You'll watch after the racer ahead of you take off. You'll count down 15 seconds, and then you are to take off and put in the best time that you can. Try to eliminate mistakes. Unfortunately, I am not a sand rider. When I was a kid, I used to love playing in the sandbox. But other than that, I've really not been in the sand much. I had a lot to learn on this day. I'm on a new bike. I've only raced this Beta 430 one time, and that was at the Hangover. And if you watched my video of the Hangover, it was a mutter. Nothing like the sand here in South Carolina. But not only did I not know how to ride in the sand, I don't know how to set a bike up for the sand. I definitely rode the struggle bus, but enough to hear me cry about how I don't know how to ride or the lack of skill. Let's talk about the US Sprint Euduro. There, as I was saying, it is a 2-day event, and you do get credit for 2 race day events, but you get 1 overall trophy for the weekend. So if you get 3rd on one day and you get a 1st the next day, you will get credit for the race day results on Saturday, and then whatever your race results will be on Sunday. But as far as the trophy at the end of the day, your combined 2-day event scores will come together, and that will give you the weekend overall results. So as I go down and take my first sand sample, and I might say the South Carolina sand is soft, and I am grateful for that because I was in it quite a few times throughout this day. And one other thing I want to mention, the AMA has put a ban on putting the GoPro up on our helmets. So I'm running the chest mount, which I absolutely cannot stand. I thought I had a pretty good system here, but every time I would go bouncing across the track, somehow or another I'd keep on hitting it, I guess with my gas tank or my seat or my handlebars. The track did get pretty gnarly. So I'm putting out the best video I can. I'm going to put out pretty much a full cross test and a full enduro test. the best. I think this actually is lap 1 on day 1. The track was at its smoothest, but on the Enduro test, I think it's more of day 2, and you'll see how rough it gets. But sorry for the video. We'll have to figure out something. It's really tough as a lazy rider, which I am a lazy rider, to stand up and get you good video. I like sitting on the seat. I know you are not supposed to sit on the seat, and I did find out by the end of the weekend. Yes, it took 2 days for me to figure this out. You cannot be fast in the sand sitting down, especially whenever it gets rough. So by the end of the day, on the last day, I figured out you had to stay in the rut and stand up and just pound through the whoops. Unfortunately, I'm a slow learner, and it took me all weekend to figure this out. But nevertheless, I'm having an awesome time here at the US Sprint Euduro. You never learn new skills until you get put out into the deep sand. And trust me, I was in the deep sand, not only with my tires, but my helmet, my butt, and my bike handlebars. So as you can see, mostly on the cross test, it is turns, and more turns. It's all about keeping your momentum, making as few mistakes. We were in sand, now we're up on hard clay. You gotta adjust your riding skill through that. We'll be back on that red clay. It's like marbles. Now we're off of the deep sand, kind of into a woods area, but it's still basically just corner speed and how fast you can get through from point A to point B. I'm still at this point thinking I can go wide, do a cross rut, come back to the inside, and thinking that the smoothest route is the fastest route. But by the end of the day, or by the end of the weekend, I just found out you got to get in the main line, the main rut, and just pound it through the rut standing up. And at this point, my bike really wasn't set up at all for the sand. I had way too much weight up on the front end. The front wanted to knife real bad. I was in the sand rolling around all day Saturday. You can't go fast. At the end of this test, I think I went down once and was still 3rd in my class, which the class that I'm running is the 40A. I was actually kind of surprised that I was actually up there that far, but trust me, it won't take long to work my way backwards. On this test, I went down the sand once. The second test, I was coming around and seeing one of my competition go down in the sand and ahead of me, and I thought, sweet, I'm going to gain some time on him. And I go around and I go down in the exact same turn, and then I lift it up, go to maybe 3 turns later and lay it down again. Yeah, definitely had some problems trying to get the bike figured out. Talked to some friends after Saturday. They told me what I needed to do, work on my sag and stiffen the front and get the weight moved back to the back of the bike, and it felt a lot better on Saturday. But this is my good friend Roman. Did actually get to get up and race with him a little bit, and then after we get done with the cross test, we go out and we get ready. Well, after the cross test, you get to come back and you'll go to your pits, work on your bike, talk to your mates, team, usually about a half an hour or so, and then you get to come out and do it again on the Enduro test. And that's the way it works. You go out and you do the cross test, you come back, you do the Enduro test. You do that 3 times, and typically it's about an hour usually is what riding time you get, but you're putting it all out on the track. You're not sure where your competition is. Sometimes you can catch them and get an idea where they're at, but usually we're all pretty close unless they messed up or you've messed up, you will not see your competition. So we're coming back across the motocross track and working our way back to the finish. In case this is the first time you've watched one of our videos, we are Trail Seeker Adventures. We take our cameras and we go out and we record and get information from race events, ride parks, and we bring it back and we bring it to you, so that way you know whether it's an event that you would like to take part of before you even get off the couch and load your bike. We've been on the trails out west. We've been to Croom Motorcycle Park in Florida. We even been to the Hatfield McCoy trails. Make sure you check us out, like, and subscribe to our channel if this is the type of stuff that you like getting your family and friends involved in. Well, as I wrap up lap 1 on day 1 of the cross test, I'll roll in here. Dan, I think everybody knows Dan, was asking about some hints on the track.
Alright, Coach.
Tell him why I know.
I went down and,
he gets something off his chest, makes him feel better.
Down. Did you go any? Down any? No, you're just that fast. You went down and still come off.
I just talked to the JT, what's his name? JT Motorsports. The boy. The guy that cheated during the pumpkin patch race. Am I on?
Okay.
Is this thing on?
Yeah, it's on.
He
You got a
said
confessional?
the hardest part was the first 50 feet and the last 50 feet.
Yeah, that's
the
true.
sand, I saw a couple areas when I walked earlier. You know, is the sand that bad?
It's just deep over here is the worst of it.
Right.
Once you get into the woods, it's fine. You gotta watch, there's a clay flat track out there. It's like marble.
That's, yeah, somebody else said something about that.
Yeah, you wanna watch that.
You went down?
Yeah, I went down back here, front end tucked in a sheep stand.
Okay.
I hate sand.
Anybody else?
But that's the cool thing about this event. You get to come back, hang out with your friends and family, talk about your race event, how well you did, how much you like it. And now I can come over here in between the cross and the Enduro test, put my old kickstand down and see what my results is, and see what I need to do on my Enduro test to try to work my way back to the front. Of course, we line up, wait 10 to 15 seconds is what they recommend, but they like you to stay at 15. You take off, and now we're out and hitting the Enduro track. As I'm working my way back to the woods on the Enduro test, I do want to mention I did get some video of the pros. They were rolling around here. It's so impressive watching them jump, actually that jump right there. The way they go around the cross test in that deep sand and hammer through the woods. It's so impressive. You think you're going fast until you watch them go. But I did get some video of them. I got their results. We had Thad Duvall, Caleb Russell was back, Lane Michael, Stu Baylor. They were all here ripping up the track. Unfortunately, I think between Lane Michaels and Duvall, they were, I think Duvall was trying to make a pass on Lane Michaels and he got tied up with a tree, got injured. I hate to see that. Really was rooting for Thad to do well this year, but unfortunately this is some of the results that we do ripping through these trees. We take a chance in getting hurt. The track was laid out, as you can see. We had options throughout the woods. Ryan Sipes did stop and help Thad. Sipes did sacrifice his test and stayed there with Thad until help came, and the US Sprint Euduro came together and averaged his time and was able to give him a time for his lap. That way it didn't ruin his entire weekend for stopping and helping. Let's talk about lining up. You are giving a number. My number was 205. The class I run starts at 200. So at the beginning of the day, you will start with the 200, then the next guy is 201, and those are assigned. The earlier you sign up, the lower your number, the sooner you get to go out on your first test. But after that, it all comes down to your times. So it only affects your start on your first test, and then after that, whoever's the fastest in your group gets to go out and hit the track first, and so on and so on. And then on day 2, they start with however the results ended up for day 1, But then after that, it comes back to day two's fastest time. They get to go out first, and so on and so on. Eric's over there. He always makes me mess up. I hit neutral right there. On race day, it felt like I really got messed up there, but on the video, it doesn't look that bad. But if you raced the full gas Sprint Euduro, this is pretty much the same. The management or whoever was over the full gas decided that they didn't want to do it anymore. Billy and Nancy, they were the only ones that had raced every event of the full gas, and in the past few years they started their own race series, the SXCS, and so they've got some experience underneath their belt when running the race series. And they definitely, there's nobody has more experience than Billy out here on the sprint cross scene. He's a pro motocrosser which made the transition to the woods. And actually, I think right here is where Thad might have went down the tree right there to the left with the arrow on it. I think he was making a pass or trying to make a pass on Lane Michaels is what the rumor has. But he had the opportunity. The AMA came to him and asked him to do the 6-day qualifier, and then I guess that got them thinking, and now they are the promoter of the US Sprint Euduro. So they'll take their skills from racing events and putting on events and bringing in the good from the past and doing the improvements to help the riders have a better experience on the weekend. They've already improved on the way we line up to start the day. That was definitely a lot more organized. Having these stands for the riders to come in and put their bikes up on, that's just another thing that they improve. And throughout the year, they'll keep on improving. They ask for suggestions to help, make their sport better, and that's the things that's going to make them be one of the top promoters of our sport. Is they're racers. The whole crew that puts on this race, everybody that you see out there are riders or racers. So I want to give a big thanks to them. They're very busy. This came together in a very short amount of time. But if you were the first time at the event, you would never noticed that just a few months ago, the US Sprint Euduro was not even a thing. So they got everything put together. There may have been a little hiccup here and there throughout the weekend, but for the most part, definitely a professional looking series, and what a class act that they were able to put together for us to come out here and race in the sands of South Carolina. Big thanks to them. Hope you're not too tired of seeing my bike bounce around with this stupid camera setup, but I'm starting to catch somebody in my class. Actually, it's one of very few times I did actually catch somebody in my class. I started the day on Saturday. First test, I was third. Went down on my second test on the cross test twice and went from third to sixth. And I pretty much lingered down there. I could do pretty good in the Enduros. The times were not super impressive, but I wasn't really losing time on the Enduro, but in the cross test I was losing a good bit of time. Made a change on my bike. Was able to get up Saturday morning and go out and test it. They usually have a spot to warm your bike up. So I was able to get out and test it. Felt a lot better. Still wasn't really setting any records, but I kind of lingered on Sunday around third, fourth. The guy that I'm catching right here, he was in third at the time. I was at this time fourth. I did catch him and actually beat him for the test, but he was definitely faster than me out on the cross test. But I ended up 4th for the weekend. I got 6th. I got points for 6th on Saturday, and I got points for 4th, I believe, on Sunday. I haven't went back and looked. I was lingering around 3rd or 4th, but I'm pretty sure I ended up 4th. So that's 2 race event credits. I get a race event credit for 6th, which I'm not happy about, but what can you do about it? And then I got 6th on Saturday and 4th on Sunday. But this is not my type of racing. I enjoyed it. I had an awesome time. I'm just not very good at it. But you don't get good at anything unless you go out and learn it. And definitely I learned a good bit this weekend on bike setup, on position, on standing on the bike. But Heidi was able to come out. They made a class 40, women's 40. Heidi's kind of a beginner rider. She hasn't been riding for too many years. She definitely enjoys the sport, but it wasn't fair for her to be able to have to go out there and ride with 20-year-olds, and she's, well, almost 50. Sorry, sweetie. But she was able to come home with the win. She's super excited about that. Super excited about the series. Make sure you continue to watch the video. I got a lot of the pros taken off. I got a little video of Heidi throughout the weekend. It's tough. We are usually racing at the same time. If I'm on the Enduro test, she's on the cross test, and that's just the way it is. I wasn't able to get a lot of video of her, but make sure you watch the pros take off. It's insane how fast they are. I hope Thad Duvall, I hope you heal up quick, bud. You're an awesome dude. Love talking to you throughout the years. Respect to all the pros that go out there and just throws it out there. I know they get paid to go out and ride, but Heidi's sitting here waiting for an update on the track. But make sure you stick around and check out how well the pros do. One good thing about the Sprint Euduro is if you're not in shape, or if you're a motocrosser, you don't have the strength to go out and do a 2-hour race. Well, this thing is set up to where you go out and you ride for 15 minutes, 10-15 minutes. If you're a slower rider, come back, you rest for a half an hour, 45 minutes, and then you go back out and do it again. You can set your own pace. You don't have to worry about a bunch of A riders coming up on you and trying to run you over. And the tracks are typically not as technical, so you're able to get out there and work on your skills. But if you're an A rider like myself, they are still a blast. And nothing like at the end of the race being able to get together with your friends and talking about your experience.
Pulled over to the side and I was like, oh, I can't do it. Boom.
I know, I almost hit a tree. I was like, oh God. I mean, I was almost at the end too.
What a great track. This is an exceptional weekend. So
US SE knocked it out of the park.
Good job, guys.
US, yeah.
Race weekend started out with defending champion Caleb Russell hitting the track. I'm going to sit back and keep my mouth shut and let you just watch and listen to how awesome these guys can ride a bike.
I look just like that when I come through. No, you're fine.
I don't break the camera.
A bike don't even move.
Watch, nobody else will take that outside line. He almost died. All day.
You almost died.
I was trying to tell you that.
Taking it outside. Yeah. Nobody else is doing that.
Nobody else was blitzing the outside line. The only one doing it yesterday. Caleb.
Caleb Russell had a bad test on day one, which messed up his weekend results. For the weekend, Stu Baylor came in with the win on the overall. Lane Michaels was second. And Liam Draper finished third for the weekend. And in Pro 2, Johnny Gerard was ripping up the day. And in second place was Jesse Ansley. And Ben Nico finished up third for the weekend. Good job, guys.
And for our pro class, Lane Draper, Lane Michael, and Stuart Baylor. Yeah, you are now politically correct no matter what. All right, let's hear it for our Pro 2. The women's pro class, Elizabeth Perez, Ellie Spurgeon, and Taylor Jones.
Make sure you like and subscribe to our channel. Just hit the logo in the middle.